An idea relevant to our discussion of cognitive processing for learning is cognitive load theory. As we consider how to help make concepts meaningful to students so that they can develop and modify their schema, we should keep in mind the limitations that the working memory has in regards to how many elements and processes it can handle at one time. Cognitive load theory assumes the human cognitive system has a limited working memory that can hold no more than 5 to 9 information elements, the famous 7 plus or minus 2, and actively process no more than 2 to 4 elements simultaneously. Once the information is stored in long-term memory, there are no known limitations to further working with the information. Thus, long-term memory consists of schemas that vary in complexity and automation. Expertise in a field is developed by organizing and building knowledge into schemas, which allows individuals to combine simple ideas into more complex ones and to automate processes through sufficient practice. By combining ideas into one schema and automating processes, individuals can optimize demands on their working memory. Now, we are going to look at some figures showing three kinds of cognitive load in regards to learning situations. Intrinsic load refers to the intrinsic nature of the content to be learned. It can only be reduced by reducing the amount or complexity of the content. As educators, though, we can adjust the extraneous load, which is how content is presented during instruction. In the figure, you can see the additive nature of these loads. In A, the intrinsic plus the extraneous loads are beyond the capacity of the learner's working memory, which creates overload situation. In order to work within the limited capacity of the working memory, either the intrinsic load would need to be reduced, that is simply the content, or reduce the amount of content, or better yet, reduce the extraneous load using instructional design strategies like worked examples or advanced organizers, which I'll talk about next. So in B, you can see that the extraneous load has been decreased while the intrinsic load has remained the same. In C, the germane load is shown, which involves the demands on working memory to create schemas during learning. In this diagram, the intrinsic, germane, and extraneous loads all fit within the capacities of the working memory, which we consider to be optimal. For instance, providing students with worked examples and situations that they can study before having to generate their own can help to establish the schema needed to accomplish the more demanding task of originating their own examples. The processing that occurs as learners construct and modify schemas is referred to as germane load. Now let's take a look at how we can decrease extraneous load through the use of advanced organizers in the next slide.